It is day 243 of the second Trump administration. And this week, take a big old breath. You needed a scorecard to keep up. The president went to England, making deals and dining with the royal family at Windsor Castle. His FBI director, Kash Patel, went before Congress and defended his handling of the Charlie Kirk investigation and the Epstein files. The fire director of the CDC warned Congress that under RFK Jr., the nation's public health is being pushed to a very dangerous place. Plus, the Federal Reserve cut interest rates for the first time in almost a year. Why? Because they're worried about a slowing economy. A judge threw out the president's $15 billion defamation lawsuit against the New York Times, calling it improper. Another government shutdown looms after Republicans and Democrats failed to reach an agreement on short-term spending. And Jimmy Kimmel was suspended by ABC after criticism from the head of the FCC over comments he made about the suspect in the killing of Charlie Kirk. As I said, I hope you had a scorecard. Let's bring in our nightcap tonight. Jake LaHutte is here for the first time as a nightcapper, senior writer for Wired, covering the Trump White House. Jelani Cobb joins us, staff writer for The New Yorker and dean of the Columbia Journalism School. Dan Nathan, CNBC contributor and co-host of the Risk Reversal podcast. And my dear friend, who I have not seen in ages, Jennifer Palmieri, former White House communications director for President Obama. Mr. Nathan, I turn to you first. We've obviously seen huge reaction to what has happened with Jimmy Kimmel and his show. The president threatened to cancel licenses of broadcasters that air any sort of criticism of him. What are your thoughts of where we might be headed?
Well, it's one of the last pillars, if you think about it, right? So we've seen the tech guys kind of give in. We've seen the judiciary. We've seen, Congress, for all intents and purposes. We've seen the law firms. We've seen academia. We've just seen a lot. And, when you think about a guy named Bob Iger, he's just a legend. He's of industry in general. And so when you think about the media, he has pushed back against Donald Trump in the first administration. So that's one of the things that's just really disappointing. And we've talked about it on the show, the lack of corporate leadership, and that's it. I mean, as far as Disney's concerned, I think there's a lot of folks who are really disappointed, and it leaves a lot of people like us just wondering who's going to stand up, who's going to defend their institutions if Bob Iger can't do it. We already know the social media companies and the big tech companies, they've just kind of bowed to this pressure. And when you just said he sat down, that'd be Trump, with royalty over there in England, he also sat down with our tech royalty, and they just follow him around, whether he goes to Saudi Arabia, whether he goes
They're part of a posse.
Yes.
Now.
Because
they
for
go
them,
with
Dan,
everywhere. Because it's never enough.
But Jennifer, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, we're expecting our business leaders to stand up and do the right thing. And what they are non-verbally saying back to us is what is the right thing. Because for them, the right thing is their business. Right. So for the tech leaders we're talking about, every single one of them oversees a massive AI business, right? AI is going to change every element of the way we live. So for them, it's a small price to pay to tap dance for Trump at the White House or at Windsor Castle if it means that the industry that they're about to take over isn't going to face any regulations.
Yeah, but they've also play a big role in the country, and they have never not relished the fact that they are held up as leaders in the country, well beyond, being the head of whatever their companies are. And, there are people who have lost their jobs, even here at this network, because of things that they said about Charlie Kirk that were considered to be inappropriate. But that's way different than this is the federal government coming in and saying, you better deal with this or else. And it is, it's September. There have been, moments where the administration, where you see them just moving through like wildfire and implementing Project 2025, and they might pull back a little bit, but they feel like they got a window now. And wow, from, just in the last week, how much they have their foot on the accelerator and how comfortable they clearly feel in pushing this. It's not the FCC. When's the last time the FCC chairman? I didn't even know the FCC chairman was during Barack Obama or Joe Biden's term. And, Brendan Carr is making himself a public presence to continue to push this case.
But you know who he was. You know who he was. You know all about the FCC. And I'm dying to know in journalism classrooms, right? Mm-hmm. The students who are saying to you, but what about during COVID? What about when, Mark Zuckerberg has said that the Biden administration pressured them on what they could have on their platforms regarding COVID and what people were allowed to say? Is there when they say that, when your students say that to you, what is the response?
So, I mean, we haven't talked about that specifically, but I will say that there's always been a kind of public health exception. When we go back, across time, there's all kinds of ideas, even where we have restrictions on what people can advertise, and you can't have the kind of infamous quack cure that we say, if we give you this, it'll make you grow hair back. Trust me, that might be appealing to me. But
you tried.
I tried. But we have regulations on what you can and can't say in those regards. I don't think that is this. In this regard, what we're hearing is blatantly political. It's saying that we don't like what you said. It's not that it presents some sort of risk to the public, that there's some sort of compelling interest in Jimmy Kimmel not being able to make a statement, which is actually a lead-in for a joke, or any of the other things. And the more damning thing is the statement from Carr that there will be more, that this is not the end of this. And finally, this is literally, it's not like this is something that's in the penumbra of the Constitution. This is literally the First Amendment, where it says that the federal government cannot abridge speech in this way. In the same way that the 14th Amendment says that birthright citizenship is the law of the land. But, that's another conversation for another day. They're not going for things that are subject to some sort of legal debate, where there's not a firm consensus. These are things that are explicit parts of the Constitution. So the question then becomes not just for the business leaders, but for the leaders of academia, for the leaders of the law firms, for the leaders of foundations, for the leaders of every other institution, how much do you believe in the United States Constitution? That's the question.
But the president, to this point, doesn't have full support from the right. We're hearing big voices like a Tucker Carlson, like a Karl Rove saying, hold on a minute, don't take this too far, especially following the tragic death of Charlie Kirk. Don't use this as an opportunity.
Yeah, and another moment for the Barstool guys in that, excuse me, that weird question of, your younger, edgier guys who maybe not have that need into the traditional.
But they're hugely influential.
Yeah, and a lot of in terms of the Electoral College and the math going forward, they're kind of the ball game in a lot of these contests. The thing is that to your point, Jelani, is that a lot of them, they're not going after something that's, oh, I'm sorry about that. First time on the show. But they're not going after the principle that they think is debatable, to your point. They're going after what they think is a weak or a soft target, personality-wise. They're counting on the American people not willing to throw down, in whatever metaphorical sense, for Jimmy Kimmel, because they think Jimmy Kimmel is some out-of-touch elite guy who doesn't know anything about the working man or woman, and that no one's going to rise up for a comedian like that. However, we only have like 3 late-night comedy show hosts left, and most Americans happen to know their name. And that's where this is starting to, I think, spin a little bit too far out of their control, where like this is a full attention magnet now, and they've been responsive to public pushback in the past.
Well,
okay, but
there is a
hold on.
level of hypocrisy here, because Elon Musk last week, right after this murder, he tweets out that Democrats are the party of murder. Just think about that. He is the CEO of a $1 trillion market cap company. He is the CEO of one of the most important companies, SpaceX, on the planet. He is the CEO of a private company that he can do whatever he wants, a social media company, one of the biggest bullhorns. And this guy can get away with that. Just think about it. We say this all the time. Sorry, Jamie. If Jamie Dimon, the CEO of the largest bank on the planet,
ever said anything like this.
Okay, so if Elon is a free speech absolutist,
which is why he claims he bought Twitter.
Yeah, right.
That's when he bought Twitter, he said, I am doing this to bring back free speech.
So the hypocrisy is crazy. And the last thing I'll just say on this is, like, we're looking around here, we're looking at people getting canceled by a party that was really against, cancel culture. It can't be that MSNBC, the New York Times, the Pod Save America guys are the last bit of the resistance. It just can't be. If the corporate, or the Congress and all these guys that we just talked about are not going to stand up for it, we're in a pretty dark place right now.
Okay, then let's go, because the former head of Disney came out today, who you almost very rarely hear from, very unhappy with what Bob Iger and Disney said, where has all the leadership gone? However, just for a moment, we'll put this. If you're Bob Iger, if you're Nexstar, and you're saying, we've got multi-billion-dollar deals, right? Our bread and butter, our business, which is our day job, our business, that we need to get through. And we need to be on the right side of the FCC. And the FCC and this president has made it really clear. If you're not with me, you're against me. So how do they thread that needle?
Well, here's the deal. I mean, the New York Times gets sued for $15 billion.
Bingo.
Right?
You had the right answer.
Right. I mean, like, no, I know
so
this,
proud.
and this network is going to be threatened with their licenses, right? And so here's one thing that's interesting. Presides over streaming networks, and you think about all this stuff that's going on. They don't preside over podcasts, and they don't apparently preside over social networks, that sort of thing. So there is the opportunity for some of these folks to kind of stand up and you really rise to this moment. But right now, there's just nobody.